Just got home from a long, sweaty day at work, and I got a video response from Megachepo. He responded to me asking people to school me, to pwn me on my belief that if a decision results in more life rather than less life, then it's probably the better decision to make. And Chepo brought up a few points, and I'm just going to try to talk about each of the points that he brought up. He said that overpopulation is a problem, that the more people that we have, the worse people are in their living situations. He said that wealth is not distributed equally, so the more people we have, pretty much the more poor people we have. He talked about poverty and how it's horrible, especially in Mexico City. And here's what I have to say about that. If you're trying to make the decision to bring a life into this world, and you've come to the conclusion that this is a horrible world to bring a life into, which are you going to do? Not bring a life into the world, or change the world so that you can bring a life into the world? I'm a proponent for changing what's bad in the world. He talked a little bit about how masturbation would be wrong and birth control would be wrong under my simplification of if a action results in more life being made, then it's probably better. I would say that for birth control, if it's being used to control when a woman is going to have her children, like, postpone it beyond a point where she's not going to be stuck in poverty for her whole life, she has a chance to finish college, then I'd say it's a good thing. That's one of the topics that he brought up earlier in his video, is that poverty is a bad thing. And if you're using birth control to better life, masturbation, you gotta figure out how your weapon works somehow. Not everybody gets laid the first time out with their little soldier, I think it's actually probably some kind of instinct that people have to play with themselves, some kind of phallic stage that, it's another phallic stage past the one as a baby, where you just figure out, hey, this is a fun thing. And I think that we're supposed to play with ourselves a little bit. Cheps has a problem with the argument that rape might be considered a good thing if it resulted in more life. So I'm going to tell you why I think that rape is not a good thing and is not an evolutionary advantage, contrary to what some other people on YouTube are saying, that it might be an evolutionary advantage because you can get your own genetic material passed on to more people. And from the other point of view, from the point of view of the rape victim, they're not being able to select for the strongest. There's instincts that they have, that they look for traits that they're not being able to select for. And so it could be an evolutionary disadvantage because somebody who is relatively weak or, has very bad genetic traits could get a gun and just start raping people. then there would be a whole bunch of people that were disadvantaged in the whole evolutionary scheme of things if this rapist, just spread his bad genetic material all over. So while it might be seen as an advantage on an individual level, when you take the entire species into consideration, if one weak person decides to rape everyone and knock up all the women, then there's going to be a whole bunch of weak people born. Okay, so Cheps also said he wanted a simple answer from me as to why human life is more valuable than animal life. And I'm going to say that I think that it's part of the will to be and become more, and volition, that everyone that's part of a species looks out for that species in particular above all else. And even animals do this. I knocked down a hive of wasps, one of those little paper things that was hanging on the eave of my house. And a few minutes later, all the wasps were looking for me. And they wanted to pay me back for it. And they wanted to make sure that I never did it again. And those little eggs that were inside that hive, they weren't wasps yet. But the wasps care about those eggs. Even though I'm a smarter being. And they have no way of knowing this, but they're protecting their own. And my simple answer as to why human life is more valuable than animals is that it's only more valuable than animals if you're human. Cheps wanted to know why the life of a fetus is more worthy than a cat or a dog. Same answer. Because we're humans, and because we value the future of the fetus more than we value the future of the dog or cat. Just because it's part of being part of a species. You want your species to continue, and it's sometimes at the detriment of other species. Yeah. Chips also talked about adult life being more valuable than that of a newborn. Probably specifically, he was probably getting at that if a woman is in distress for whatever reason, her distress is more important than a potential human life. And I'm going to counter that argument by saying that in many civilized cultures, or the more evolved cultures on Earth, it's women and children first if you're trying to save someone from a disaster. If a ship is going down, then you load all the women and children on the boats and let the men, try to fight whatever it is that's bringing the ship down. I have seen cultures where, where that's not the case. But I consider those cultures to be barbaric. And, I've seen some Muslim men allow women and children to walk ahead of them because the women and children might clear out mines. I saw that when I was in the army, and that was completely backwards to what I'm saying. So I guess it's just my opinion, really, that because do more in life has a potential for living longer and doing more, and adults have pretty much spent most of their life, and because we need to go on as a species, newborn life is a little bit more important, and we should protect it. So, anyone out there, if there's anyone out there who thinks that I should not simplify every argument with if more life is created, then it's better than the argument that creates less life. If there's anyone out there who has some other opinion, bring it on. I am very malleable on this point. I really don't have much of an opinion other than that simple statement that I like to choose more life over less life. Come on.